Right. Gary Neville was on about, what did he say? Man United should be sending horrors or tremors through Old
Tremors.
Trafford or something.
He says the debate is over. Now that Liverpool have equaled, 20 league championships. He said on Sky Sports yesterday, Liverpool have more European Cups and today will equal Manchester United's 20 league titles. The debate is over. Liverpool's success should cause pain and heartache. He also said, as Flex mentioned, it sent tremors to Old Trafford. What do you make of Gary Neville's comments there about the debate is over? But effectively, he's saying that Liverpool are now the bigger club than Manchester United because if they're equal when it comes to league titles, they've got more European Cups than us. So therefore, they are bigger. As people were pointing out yesterday, they went, well, Manchester United have got more Premier League titles than Liverpool. We've got 13 compared to their, 2? But then you get the pushback of people going, yeah, but football didn't begin in 1992 when the Premier League started. No, it's been going on for quite much longer than that. League titles are league titles. So what did you make of it? And what do you make of it in the chat?
It's things that these are things if we have to be 100% honest with, which we don't always want to do because Liverpool can't stand them, the biggest rivals. Factually, it's true, isn't it? It's true. Football, in order to save face against my Liverpool friends, I absolutely am posting that graph of us with the 13 Premier League titles and 2 for them. And I'm basically saying, if you're not a Liverpool fan who's over 60, I don't want to hear from you. I don't want you claiming stuff that you weren't even born. Shut up. Like in my lifetime, me versus you, my friends, in my group chats and that, I'm saying that. I'm dropping it. But the real truth of the matter is, it's true. Football didn't start. When the Premier League started in 92. And for us to get back to what we want to be, this is just me. I'm a fond believer of accepting your real reality. Don't hide from your real reality. And the real reality is, like I said, they've got 6 European trophies. We got 3. They got the same amount of league titles as us. So, yeah, trophy-wise, they're more successful, aren't they? And the reation why we weren't saying it before...
If you're going to have that debate, I mean, let's be honest here. We're now into the territory where we're having to start to split hairs, aren't we? Really,
yeah,
what we're doing,
absolutely.
what we're doing now, we're going into. Yeah, but in modern, they've only won a couple of Premier Leagues. We've won 13 Premier Leagues. And the fact that a couple of years ago, let's say a decade ago, we wouldn't even have this debate. Would do. We wouldn't even have this debate.
No.
We're talking about 20 times Man United. And they go, and at the time, I mean, because they've won a couple of Champions Leagues, haven't they? In the last 20 odd years. So we'd be like, whatever. Now we're having to split hairs because we're like, well, yeah, but Premier Leagues and sort of modern and this and that. It's horrible. And I think what we do as fans to sort of push back, we start splitting hairs because we don't want to have uncomfortable conversations, do we? That's what it is. The reality is the same way that it was for Liverpool for a long period of time when Sir Alex was manager. Like when I was growing up, there was a long period of time at Liverpool. They were like mid-table fodder. There was a period of time they were like mid-table fodder, and they'd probably be having these conversations of being like, yeah, but in the 80s, Liverpool that, Liverpool that, and Man United fans would be like, who gives a shit? We're winning the league every season, mate. We've passed you. Now it's reversed. It's gone back the other way where it's like, we're like, well, Man United, mid-table fodder, Liverpool winning the leagues and going to latter stages and winning Champions Leagues. And I think the most appropriate thing to do at the time is not get our backs up about it. It's to face reality and be like, we are way off. We are way off. Now, I do think we'll come back because as Liverpool have shown that the big teams, they do come back. Eventually they come back. Football is cyclical like that. It's not a guarantee, but I think they probably will. Man United one day will be back to...
Yeah, we just don't know if it'll be in our lifetime. We don't know.
No, we just don't know when it's going to be.
We don't know when.
Liverpool, it took 30 years for them to win a Premier League title again, And for United, will it be the same? Maybe. Arsenal fans, they haven't won the league title since they went invincible. They've come close the last few years, and that's probably where their panic is of going, been close, we still haven't won it. Like, are we ever going to win it? Are we ever going to win it again? So I think when Gary Neville's talking there, a lot of people can say, oh, it's just Gary Neville doing Gary Neville things.
I don't understand why people are mad at him. I don't get it.
it's not. I don't think it's that sensationalist for him to basically say,
Of
like,
course it's not.
Liverpool are far and ahead, better than Manchester United at the moment. Bigger. The whole bigger thing is always going to be subjective anyway. It depends what you judge it on. Some people will judge it on, again, these trophies. Some people will judge it purely on, Premier League. Some people will judge it on fan base size and commercial revenue and what have you. So I don't think that's a debate anyone's ever going to be 100% aligned on. But the reality is they're far and away ahead of us at the moment. Far and away.
And when he's saying it should send tremors or whatever shockwaves through Old Trafford, it fucking should. So, Jim, if you're a Man United fan, like you say you are, and your job is to come in here and fix this and change this and get Man United back to doing what we should be doing, which is at the very least competing for league titles, and our biggest rivals have just equaled ours, you're damn right. The people, Omar Barada, Jean-Claude Blanc and Dave Brailsford and all these, the whole of Ineos who are in charge of this, they should be feeling it. They should, because like I said, obviously we've known this is gonna be happening. Like, it's not a shock that Liverpool won this league. We've known this since before Christmas. That's fine. But what I'm saying is that, these little minute things, there's a day where it all comes together where you should talk about it and then you move on. This is that day. Yesterday was into today. When we're playing our shit game against Bournemouth and we can't get a goal and we're hanging on against, trying to turn it around against 10 men to get a draw, and they're shrinking down our game and putting that big screen of loads of flares of the team bus pulling up at Anfield to celebrate the 20th league title. You know what I mean? The scarves are out. They're all dressed in red. All got their shirts on. That's what we live for. That's what we were used to. We're a million miles off that. So yes, on today, the day that they were crowned champions, that should send shockwaves through Old Trafford. And if it don't send shockwaves, then something's wrong. Something's wrong. Because what it means is that we're getting too comfortable and we do it to cope with the season. It's a natural fan thing. We've been so shit this year. To cope with it, we're just like, well, it's another loss. We know that. It's another loss. Of course we was going to lose to Wolves. Of course we probably weren't going to beat Bournemouth. Of course we're not going to beat Brentford next week. Obviously, we're shit this year. We know this. But if we start to just not have, when we actually sit and talk about it overall, we don't have any emotion left. I get it, because it's been zapped out of us, but then we're finished. We have to remind ourselves of what we're trying to get back to, and we have to look at that Liverpool thing very shortly. Of course, we're not going to watch the speeches and watch the parade, and I don't want to care how Arnie Slot, what he said to the fans. I don't give a shit about that. I turned it off. But we're going to see it everywhere, all over our social medias, them lifting it, and it should flipping hurt. And it should hurt all the people who make the decisions at Man United and all the players who are there to fix it.
You can't stick your head in the sand, basically. And this is when I go back to splitting hairs. You can't stick your head in the sand and sort of just pretend, it's not happening. It's not happening. And this is why we say, I kind of do roll my eyes a little bit of the, we're Man United. You go, well, that means something different to what it meant a decade ago, doesn't it? We're Man United. We talk about a new generation of players. You go, we're Man United, they'll go, so? Like, what you winning? What you doing? And the answer is not that much. not that much. Whereas like I said, when I was younger, and some people said they were Liverpool, I remember all the time when I was younger, people go, my dad used to say to me, yeah, but Liverpool in the 80s. And I'd be like, yeah, but Dad, I wasn't fucking born in the 80s.
Never seen it. Yeah.
I don't care. You're just old. And now I feel like that. If I'm talking to my nephew, I'll be like, yeah, Man United, they used to be proper good. They'd be like, I don't know, I've never seen it.
He thinks you're lying. Yeah.
Yeah, just go.
Uncle Owen, what are you lying?
Yeah,
you're right.
You're old. You're old. I don't know what you're talking about. You're old. And it's right. It's the same thing. So you have to acknowledge it. I don't think Gary Neville, what he's saying there is a million miles off. Like I said,
don't know why people are onto him.
The whole thing about big, successful, whatever. It's all subjective, but you have to acknowledge the reality, which is we are miles off. And like you said yesterday, at points of that game, they effectively stopped showing the game just to show Liverpool arriving at the state.
Yeah. So at the point where you start to become irrelevant, I keep looking at that camera. At the point you start to become irrelevant, yeah. Let's be honest. That, like, again, you have to call this as it is. It don't mean we're going to stay irrelevant, but we've become irrelevant this season. The fact that when we lose in all these games or conceding goals, like you say, your group chat's not even going off anymore. Even the hate of the door never ignored, where you keep getting cussed every week, Man United.
You were saying that. People stop calling you. People stop calling you.
There's nothing.